There comes Jerry Allen, who luckily fared much better than Bronco Lubitsch did last week in the Abdullah Butcher attack. Here's Stan Hovater with
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is your television main event featuring the best of 3 falls and a 30-minute time limit. Introducing first in the corner to my right, both wrestlers hailing from the state of Minnesota. First at 243 pounds, Jerry Allen, and his teammate this evening at 245 pounds, the Grappler. And making their Fort Worth debut this evening, please welcome from Kansas City, the Battens twins, Brad and Bart at 453 pounds. Your referee this evening, Mr. Ralph Pulley.
Now, don't ask me who's who. They're twins. One is Brad, one is Bart. But I don't guess it makes any difference. Really, a couple of nice guys and great talents in the ring. You'll love the way they handle themselves. Jerry Allen, the Grappler, providing the opposition. This is our television main event. Best 2 of 3 falls, 30-minute time limit. Ralph Pulley, your referee. Boy, everybody's so pumped up. The Von Erichs, Matt Bourne, and you heard and saw Raven. She means business, and she looks like she can take care of business. Here we go. This is either Brad or Bart. We're going to have to get a Mark-Salon and paint a stripe on one of them to tell them apart. Here's the Grappler. He can't find a handle. And the Grappler breaks free. He'll have to try again. Here's the referee stance that quickly turns into a side headlock. In the center of the ring, Joe Ranelli's going to go over and ask the other Batten brother who he is so we can tell them apart. Okay, thank you, Joe. That is Bart in the ring. The U.S. Express. The Grappler turns him over. Here comes Jerry Allen, but it's a surprise. Down they both go. Jerry Allen doesn't know what he's getting into. And Jerry wound up ducking under and nailing his own man. So Bart Batten nails Jerry Allen by using the other man to do so. Coming up also tonight, as I mentioned, our tape feature, the 6-man bout. We'll be talking to Percy Pringle, Rick Rude, Blackjack Mulligan, and the U.S. Express that we're seeing now. Here's Brad in the midst of the leg scissors. He ducks away. This is Brad Batten, one half of the U.S. Express tag team, in their leopard tiger skin looking tights. Hammerlock in the middle of Jerry Allen. All right, let's talk about one of the most popular subjects of conversation in the world, professional wrestling. U.S. Express down, quickly tries to find a handle on Jerry Allen. He's back up, barring the arm. You've been watching wrestling, I know many of you, for years here on Channel 11. You know, pro wrestling has been around since the early days of television as the first sporting events ever on the airwaves. The Grappler now in on the tag. The masked man is locked up. But what a change we've seen in the wrestling business over the last few years. It has become so very competitive. Back and forth, and down he goes. No longer do you have the regional circuits of wrestling that we once saw. Now it's every man for himself. Grappler gets spun around, high, down he goes over the knee. Here's Jerry Allen back in, but he's greeted by the other half of the Express. Brad and Bart each on their men from the corners. Here they go, around, back with a drop kick. The Grappler and Jerry Allen thought they would get kicked, but Brad and Bart backed away. They get slammed. Who's legal, who's not? They have their legs being split. Submission possibility here in our first fall as the Batten brothers break free. And the U.S. Express gets a big cheer from the crowd. High fives by these two. Well, world class, formerly known as main event wrestling in Fort Worth, big time wrestling, became world class when it came time to compete on the national and world scene. Now let's compare world class with some of the other wrestling you see. As you wrestling fans know, there's all kinds of pro wrestling on television. As you have the many channels on regular television and cable television on your dial. But world class can proudly say that world class is the only wrestling promotion in the world that raises millions and millions of dollars every year for charitable and nonprofit organizations.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
The Grappler at work now. That's what we're talking about when we run down these cards in these small communities that are being sponsored by a civic or nonprofit organization. But world class also goes many other places. There's a drive by the Grappler as Jerry Allen comes out. From behind, the Grappler picks him up. Down with the knee. For example, world class just finished a tour of the East, Israel, for almost 2 weeks. You would not believe the kind of magnetism and popularity that the Von Erichs and other world-class stars have in these countries. Harry Von Erich, as you know, has just returned from Japan, where he represented world class. Jerry Allen trying to get the fans to cheer for him, but they respond very differently. World-class championship wrestling will bring an exciting extravaganza card to the San Martin Island in the very near future. Last summer, world class appeared all over the Northeast, Albany, New York, Boston. This year, it's more of the same. Hartford, Connecticut as well. Madison Square Garden, a possibility. Down it goes. Jerry Allen getting up. Here's the pin. 1, 2. World class is also the only wrestling promotion who can say has a home base where they appear every week, and that is Fort Worth and Dallas, each town having their own cards. From the ropes, down goes the Express. Jerry Allen on top. 1, 2. The reason why we can say that about world class is because only world class has the kind of stars that can continue to bring fans in each and every week, year-round. And that's why world-class fans are so lucky here in North Texas to have world-class every week in Fort Worth and every week in Dallas. Also, you notice when you see world-class on television, here he comes from the ropes, tries to take the Grappler down. 1. And the leg scissors. When you see world-class on television, you are seeing the events in Fort Worth and Dallas as they actually happen in front of the thousands of paying customers. Much of the wrestling you see on television elsewhere is made in a television studio with about 150 people there. And the sole purpose of that wrestling action is to make a television show. That's not the case with world class. You're seeing the arenas themselves, the fans enjoying them, the wrestlers coming up and down the aisles, the music that plays, the concession stands, everything. It's all a part of the world-class excitement. Down he comes, does the Grappler, but Mr. Batten gets out of the way. Some of these other wrestling promotions bring you these matches. They last about 2 or 3 minutes. There's no introduction, no ring announcer, just a commentator yelling and screaming about it all. Back and forth goes Brad between Jerry Allen and the Grappler. He turns and moves Jerry Allen away. There's the headbutt. We're in our first fall here by TV Maine. There's a drop kick, and Jerry Allen goes over the rope. On the other side, the grappler is unsuccessful. He's going to be suplexed by both men. Well, Pulley doesn't know exactly who's who, but counts 1, 2, 3. The first fall is over.
The winner of the fall, the Battens win.
The U.S. Express has won our first fall. We'll be back to see more of the Express in action and talk more about what we're dealing with when big annual world-class 4th of July Firecracker Spectacular. And since the 4th of July falls on Friday in 1986, the action does take place at Reunion Arena. We'll have good seats available here Monday night for the matches, and again Friday the Sportatorium. Get them while the good ones are still available, or stop by any Rainbow Ticketmaster outlet. Even though the 4th of July is still quite a ways down the road, we already have several big bouts signed on this card. We'll be seeing the World Heavyweight Championship defended by world champion Rick Rude, the smooth operator. We'll also be seeing an exciting tag team bout as Lance Von Erich and Bruiser Brody tag against Blackjack Mulligan and Rick Rude. You know, it was Lance Von Erich coming to the ring in Fort Worth 2 weeks ago with Bruiser Brody when Blackjack arrived and injured Bruiser Brody. So this will be a sensational showdown between these four. Rude and Blackjack against Lance and Bruiser Brody. The sensational Buzz Sawyer will be on the card going for the Texas Heavyweight Championship. Brian Adias has the Texas title bout coming up this week. If he defends, Brian will defend it on the 4th. If not, his opponent will defend it against Buzz Sawyer. I believe it's Killer Brooks. In fact, it is Killer Brooks coming up this week. So it'll either be Buzz Sawyer against Brian Adias or Buzz Sawyer versus Killer Brooks in that reunion card. This is just June the 12th, 7:30 at the Jinx Simmons Fieldhouse. Here's Percy Pringle and the world champion, and Blackjack.
Did you hear Adams out here pointing to his busted tooth, Lawrence?
Yes.
Well, take a look at him. All my teeth are in place, and the fact of the matter is I've broken a lot of teeth. I've broken a lot of noses. I've broken a lot of jaws, and I've broken a lot of hearts. And you know, Kerry Von Erich, he's talking about unpredictable wrestlers. Well, that's right. We have a lot of unpredictable wrestlers in this area, but they're not the ones to be concerned with, Kerry. The person to be concerned with is Mr. Predictability right here, because you know I'm going to win, don't you, Lawrence?
Let's talk to Blackjack Mulligan. What is this glove that you wear on your hand?
You know something that must be in the utmost mind of every parent? Don't worry about the glove, brother. There's no mystique about the glove. There is no secret. There is no piece of steel. There's nothing that knocks anybody out cold in there except 5 knuckles stronger than any other man alive ever had 5 knuckles made. That's Fritz. He knows. As I was saying before, in the minds of parents, to let their young children be running wild on the street, having to get in the ring with me. Now, I am sure by now, young Lance Von Erich, that you don't have to have a who's who of the wrestling book to find out who I am. So don't ever make the mistake of worldwide TV of saying I don't know who he was. Every major title that there ever was to be held, I have held it. Kerry Von Erich, you're an eligible opponent. Kevin, you're an eligible opponent. All the Von Erich boys are non-exempt. But I want to tell you something right now, Lance. You just happen to be the cannon fodder that's up first. Now, what would you do if Monday morning you woke up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you had to meet me in the ring? Take a look over sitting right next to beside you there at your old man. Look at that belly. Take a look and see what a man looks like. He's kind of let himself go a little bit. I haven't. I'm what a mature adult looks like that's still filthy and nasty as the day I got out of Odessa High School. Now, let me tell you something. I was so filthy and so nasty that I had to dress with the opposing football team. I am no use for you, Lance Von Erich. You're just young cannon fodder for me. With the world champion here, and under the guidance of Percy Pringle, I hope the people are ready for a little bit of action now, because they seem to be going to sleep a little bit on me. And maybe sooner or later, after we injure a few of those kids, we can get the old man to move around a little bit down there, you know, instead of stuffing all that suds down.
Percy.
You saw exactly what Blackjack Mulligan did to rock and roll Zoom Hope right here. If that's what you call rock and roll, brother, I'm sticking with George Jones. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot more to come. There's a 6-man tag team match. Ravishing Rick Rude, Blackjack Mulligan, and the Great Kabuki are going against Chris Adams, Les Von Erich, and Horseface Terry Von Erich. That will be at the Sportatorium. And then next week, right here, Mr. Microphone, Blackjack Mulligan will step in the ring with Lance Von Erich. You fed a little bit of the claw, Lance, but you're going to get the rest of it Monday. And, of course, the world's heavyweight champion has Chris Adams, the blind limey. The dynasty's on the road, brother. I'm going to show him what a rude canal is, Mark Loran.
A rude canal, R-O-O-D. We're going to talk to U.S. Express in just a moment. I told them after that bout that they won in just 2 straight falls. I would give them a talking about the extravaganza coming to the Waco Convention Center tomorrow afternoon as the Central Texas chapter of the Easter Seals Association presents world-class action at its finest. The card starts tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock and will feature a sensational lineup of world-class's best stars. Kerry Von Erich, the modern-day warrior. Lance Von Erich is there. Steve Simpson, the lovely Sunshine. Chris Adams, the U.S. Express. Ravishing Rick Rude and Percy Pringle. The Great Kabuki, Blackjack Mulligan, Jerry Allen, Killer Brooks, Matt Bourne, and Raven. That's tomorrow afternoon in the Waco Convention Center at 3 o'clock, sponsored by the Central Texas chapter of the Easter Seals, a world-class extravaganza. Ben, great to have you, world-class. Brad and Bart, the U.S. Express.
I say, you know, it's we're here because we heard that the best competition in the world is right here in the World Championship, world-class championship wrestling area. You know, when it comes to tag team wrestling, my brother and I like to think that we sort of got an edge on a lot of people because we are twin brothers. But, you know, we're also here in Texas because we had a lot of people come up to us before they found out we were coming down here and say, you know, most of the pretty women in the world are in Texas. We're here to tell the people right here that there ain't no maybe about it. The prettiest women are definitely here in Texas. And the U.S. Express, wherever you see us out there, we're going to be coming to your town somewhere in the very near future. And, brother, when the U.S. Express comes into town, you can count on excitement, pandemonium, and fantasia.
Thank you, men. We'll look forward to that.
I tell you what, you know, it's a great pleasure for the U.S. Express, the Battens twins, to be in the world-class championship wrestling area because when you're talking about the world-class championship area, you're talking about the #1 competition, #1 wrestling area in the whole wide world. We're talking about going to Israel. We're talking about going all over the world, Japan, and, of course, the United States. The U.S. Express, we are coming your way, baby.
Thank you, guys. Best of luck coming up.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll be back now to enjoy our tape feature of the evening in just a moment.